Recording. Todavía no. Not yet.
Sorry.
Look at the screen. There we are. Can't hear you. Oh, I can't hear him. I can't hear you.
Oh, thank you so much for letting me know. Like I told you, there's always a glitch. And this is
I'm
the
sorry. I was like, oh no, I can't hear him. Sorry, go ahead.
Bienvenidos a todos. This is En Casa con la Plaza con su servidor Abelardo de la Peña Jr., Director of Marketing and Communications de la Plaza de Cultura y Artes, which brings you these conversations, presentations, demonstrations, and tonight, performances from our home to yours. 3, sometimes more times per week. It's our way of fulfilling our mission of telling the little known stories of Mexican Americans, and all Latinos in the founding growth and evolution of the greater Los Angeles area. If you're on Zoom, those of you that are on Zoom, you know you can chat with us, Q&A, send us questions, comments. Let us know where you're viewing from. We might not get to them later, we might get to them sooner, but we want to know that you're here. Also, those of you that are on Facebook Live at La Plaza LA, tell us where you're viewing from. Tell us how you're doing. Ask questions, make comments. Start a watch party. I'll be starting one myself on my personal page. And with that, I'm going to just start the conversation. This is going to be, as you saw with the title, it is Home and Community Musical Traditions with the Quetzal Family Trio. And let's start. Who has the mic on your side?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Yay. We are the Quetzal Family Trio. We're 3, but we sound like 4. Because we have our secret weapon here, Juan Pérez. Quetzal Flores es el papá. El hijo es Sandino Gonzalez-Flores. And then my name is Martha Gonzalez. And in some way or another, we are all members of Quetzal.
Well, I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to have these members of Quetzal with us tonight. It has been a while. We have to, what is it? Full revelation or what do they say? Full disclosure.
Yeah.
We are family as well. My brother Jaime is married to Marta's cousin Esther. And so somos familia.
That's right. We're actually, but we call her China. My cousin China, who I love to death. She's one of my favorite cousins and one of my closest friends as well. And I just want to give her a shout out, que la queremos mucho, and Tío Jaime as well, and the whole de la Peña family.
Thank you so much. We've been, we're a big family. There's get-togethers. There's música when we get together. And just like China is China, I'm also Lalo. So you might hear a slip of Lalo every now and then.
That's right. That's right.
But let's just talk about the Quetzal Family Trio, Quadrio today, coming from these times of the pandemic and how it came about.
Yeah, well, you know, being that we've always played music together in the home, in our living room, and so when the pandemic happened and it first started happening, you know, we were immediately approached by different people, organizations saying, hey, can you guys play something? And so we had done it before when we have small configurations out in other places. And so we just basically shared the work that we do here at home, some original music. We'll share some of that today as well, and some traditional tunes that we like to do and jam out at any any given moment of the day, you know, as a family. So we started doing it as a trio at first, and now we're mass, but we're doing it with people that we're regularly playing with. So that's why we invited Juan Perez here today.
Well,
Being
thank
extra
you.
cautious, but here today with us.
All right, fantastic. Well, and it comes from a place where what is it, 20 years ago, that Quetzal was the founder of the band named Quetzal, correct?
That's right. Quetzal started the band in 1990, 93. And yeah, it's was a new exploration in Chicano music. And it's usually an electric band with a full, you know, drum set and of course bass and, you know, violin is one of our main lead instruments. And so we've been around a long time and definitely a big part of Los Angeles sonic landscapes.
Well, you certainly are. Grammy winning, going on stages locally, of course, nationally, internationally. And so it's our privilege to have you here. So let's just go ahead and get started with the first song, por favor.
Okay, well, we're going to start the way Fandango usually starts, and then is doing a CQCD, but I want to say that these verses were written by members of, including myself, as a member of San Lunes de la Versada, and I want to get a shout out to our maestro Patricio Hidalgo for guiding us through these versos, and this is dedicated to this moment in time. Y dice.
Martha Gonzalez me llamo y en Los Ángeles vivo. Si quieren saber mi nombre y también mi apelativo.
Sandino Flores me llamo y en Los Ángeles vivo. Si quieren saber mi nombre y también mi apelativo.
Ay, que si válgame Dios, seré regalo de Dios.
Ay, que sí, pero que no.
Eres fiesta y alegría.
Ay, pero qué alegría.
Eres lenta, eres veloz.
Pero qué amor.
Igual que la serranía, hace resonar mi voz. No apreciamos el ritual de mirarnos frente a frente, de mirarnos frente a frente. No apreciamos el ritual.
No apreciamos el ritual de mirarnos frente a frente, de mirarnos frente a frente. No apreciamos el ritual.
Lo anormal se hizo casual, pero como soy prudente, dame un abrazo virtual.
Lo anormal se hizo casual, pero como soy prudente, dame un abrazo virtual.
Ay, que si válgame Dios, se me hace una eternidad.
Ay, que si válgame Dios.
Y hoy estamos tan aislados,
Ay, pero qué dolor.
besando la intimidad.
Lía, 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 lía.
De los tiempos tan cambiados, es virtual o realidad. salud está en la risa.
La salud está en la risa, a ver ligera del pecho, a ver ligera del pecho, la salud está en la risa.
Que vuela y que canta sin prisa cuando reposa en su pecho, ser feliz es un derecho.
Que vuela y canta sin prisa, cuando reposa un lecho, y a contemplar nos avisa, ser feliz es un derecho.
Ay, que si válgame Dios el milagro de estar vivo,
Ay, que si válgame Dios,
cesar cada añoranza,
cada añoranza.
la disciplina cultivo,
Ay, pero qué dolor.
con música y mudanza, no esperes algún motivo, disfruta tu cuerpo y danza.
Gracias. So tell us about the song.
Tell us about, okay, so this is the traditional son jarocho form. It's a son, and it's a son of Siki City. And yeah, we didn't do versos that are very common at all because they're all original versada from written in a kind of virtual group that it started that was instigated by Maria de la Rosa from the Bay Area. And she invited a couple of folks to get together and take basically some poetic and poetry lessons from Patricio Hidalgo, who is a maestro in versada, canto, jarana, from Veracruz, Mexico. And so we've been getting together every Monday for the past almost 3 months. And we have basically just been learning from him, and he really guided us through this process.
So this is a virtual gathering.
Yeah, every Monday we've been getting together. He's also conducting it now with other folks, other areas, but we were kind of the first group to really get together with him and learn. And so we've been writing about, we choose the topic and we kind of develop these versos, and all of these were about, first it's always about an introduction, but it's also about sort of contemplating life. And so it's sort of verses about being in a virtual world.
And in this style of music, this genre of music, a piano isn't usually used, is it?
No, good job, Abelardo. Yeah, usually in the tradition, the piano isn't used, but maybe Sandino could say a little something about how he's adapting it into the city.
Hi, Sandino. I'm Abelardo, also known as Lalo. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. But I was asking Martha, and I'm going to ask you, a piano isn't usually used in this genre of music, in this tradition. Tell us how, first of all, tell us about yourself, your name, your age, a little bit of your background, and how you learned this style of music, but on the piano.
So my name is Sandino Gonzalez-Flores, and these are my parents. And well, I grew up in the tradition, and so I just have it always in my ear, and it's always been in my ear. And since I was very little, I would sing the versos, and that was how I started musically. I started taking piano lessons, and I found ways to transcribe and play the lines from the requinto to the piano. So in the requinto, you would play something that exact line. I would just play it on the piano. And then with the piano, since there's 2 hands, I would just play the chords with it. And that's how I sort of adapted son jarocho to the piano.
And requinto, is that the first instrument that you learned how to play?
I actually learned requinto after I started learning how to play piano. I'm still learning.
All right. And what's your dad playing?
My dad is playing the jarana. It's a traditional instrument, and that is kind of a part of the rhythmic section of Son Jarocho and the chord section. So he would be playing these exact chords. And with that, you would play melodies and you would improvise over that.
Okay, well, let's hear another one, please.
All right, so we're gonna play, if you don't mind, pretty much back to back these next two songs, and the next one this next one is called El Fandangito, which is a kind of more showing more of the Andalusian side of the son jarocho, and then we're gonna go into Fandango Fronterizo, which is an original piece written in the kind of son style again, that will be on our up and coming album with Smithsonian Folkways, called Puentes Sonoros, and it's about a very important event that takes place at the U.S.-Mexican border every year. It's called the Fandango Fronterizo. Y va así.
Fandanguito que del mar saliste sin hacer guerra, saliste sin hacer guerra, fandanguito que del mar. Para que luego en la tierra encontraras un hogar, encontrarás un hogar, para que luego en la tierra y a remar, y a remar, a remar el río y a remar, y a remar el río, que aquel que no rema no gana navío, y a remar, y a remar el agua, que aquel que no rema no gana piragua, no gana piragua. canto con un mensaje del pasado hacia el futuro. Con mi jarana conjuro en la tarima un hechizo, reunidos a ras de piso, con gusto puedo decir, el tejido a revivir en el fandango fronterizo. Con mi esposo y con mi hijo. Ahora la voz y requinto, en la tarima mantengo la raíz de donde vengo, te canta el son preciso, los rostros negro y mestizo que cumplen un porvenir, hoy que nos vuelve a reunir el fandango fronterizo.
Ay, te cansaste, Marta.
Poquito.
So, but you do this every night, don't you?
Oh, man. You know what? I wish we did, but we do it often. Maybe not dance as often, but we do like to jam a lot. Just out of nowhere. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the songs. They had a very flamenco feel to them.
Yeah. Good year. Yes. Well, the first part was El Fandangito, and that one is really kind of demonstrates a lot more of the Andalusian sort of influence that the son jarocho has, the Spanish root, right? Because there are three roots: Andalusian, indigenous to the region, which usually means in mayor parte the Popolucas and other indigenous groups, of course, Nahuatls, some Nahuatls, and then we also have the African influence, right? Mexico was also part of the slave trade, the first in the Americas to abolish slavery, but nevertheless, they were part of the system and of exploitation. And yeah, so.
Let's hear from Quetzal what the third root is.
Yes, that'd be great.
¿Te puedes
Yes.
descansar un poco?
Claro, gracias. The third root. What is the third root? Okay, yeah.
Hey, Abelardo.
Hey, Quetzal, how are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your family and your talent with us tonight.
Oh, thank you for always finding creative ways to create platforms for people to share.
All right. Well, we were talking about the roots of Son Jarocho, and so Marta gave us two of them, and so what's the third?
So she talked about the Lucian roots, and
Yes.
she talked about the African root.
Yes.
Also, there's an indigenous root as well that is undeniable, and particularly when you look at the communities that practice this, or where the genesis of this practice in the ranchos, in the rural areas. You know, you have these people that still have very strong ties to land and to growing food and to a particular cosmovision that is necessary to understand the profundity of this practice.
And so, and this was kind of the with your group, Quetzal, when you first started, that was one of your points of reference as well, the Son Jarocho.
Well, if we're gonna talk about Son Jarocho, we need to go back to early moments in Chicano music history. And there were elements of it with Lalo for sure, Lalo Guerrero, but I think it sort of really becomes a thing when Richie Valens records La Bamba, the rock and roll version of La Bamba, and sort of charts this pathway for Chicanos to articulate our lived realities through song, and through Mexican song, but as expressed according to the way that we understood music, and we lived in close proximity and with Black people and Black communities. This is why rock and roll makes sense to us, the same way Son Jarocho makes sense to us. And so Son Jarocho has been a part of the sonic landscape of Chicano music and Chicano communities for many, many years, since 59 for sure, when he records La Bamba. And then Los Lobos take on this tradition and learn it, and then incorporate it into their sound as well, as part of this continued tradition of expression. And they just did this whole other thing with it, and really inspired us. And so the first song that I wrote as Quetzal was a song called Pasamontañas, and that's a direct conversation with a song by Los Lobos called Be Still. That is bringing in elements of the Son Jarocho and Son Huasteco and other stuff as well, and rock and roll, of course, as always. And so Los Lobos really that's the group that I looked to as deep inspiration for the way that we express ourselves with the band.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that history. Are you going to play that tonight, or what's your next song?
Our next song is actually now the new generation, which is Sandino. He's been composing all kinds of crazy stuff, and he's into all kinds of music, and so he created a song that I'll let him talk about.
Okay, what?
Hello.
Hi. So tell us about the song that you created. Your dad spoke of the roots of Quetzal, and that you're the next generation. So tell us what we have to look forward to here.
So I wrote a song. I wrote a variation of a song with versos. I wrote the versos, and the song is called Estrella del Norte, and it is a variation on the spiritual. Would it be a spiritual? The folk tune,
Yeah.
spiritual, called "Follow the Drinking Gourd," and "Follow the Drinking Gourd" was kind of an oral tool used by the enslaved people of the Americas to guide them north, because the drinking gourd is the Big Dipper and the North Star is in the Big Dipper. So following the drinking gourd is like following north, going north to freedom.
Right. Let's hear it.
Yes. montaña donde la estrella se ve. Búsquenme en la montaña donde la estrella se ve. Y cuando caiga la noche, ahí es donde me escaparé. Y cuando caiga la noche, ahí es donde me escaparé. Ahí veo un edredón tejido, verde y morado luciente. Ahí veo un edredón tejido, verde y morado luciente. Esperanza colorida, luces del norte sonriente. Esperanza colorida, luces del norte sonriente. Ya ralentizado el lío, se duermen tus ojos tales. Ya ralentizado el lío, se duermen tus ojos tales. Me calmo como el rocío en los campos alluviales. Me calmo como el rocío en los campos alluviales.
Oh my gosh. Gracias, Sandino.
Wait.
Sandino, you hold on. You bring so much soul and like you're an old soul to these songs. I just have to, express that. The dynamicism of the song as it progressed was dynamic, and the way you kind of slowed it down. Thank you so much for are you in school now?
I am. I'm at Locks LA County High School for the Arts, and we're currently on Zoom.
All right. How's that working out?
Not very good. It's not very well.
Okay, well, hang in there. This is unfortunately the world we live in right now, and just make the best of it. And always look for your parents for guidance. And that's it for my parental advice. So you can hand it back to your mom. Thank you so much.
Lalo.
Yes.
I mean, Abelardo.
Oh yes, Abelardo. My mom once I once introduced myself as Abelardo de la Peña, and she slapped me. Me pegó. ¿Qué Abelardo de la Peña? Eres Abelardo de la Peña Jr. Okay, mama, mama, you are correct. Anyway, I see familia hanging around. I just saw a young somebody, little person running by.
Yeah, it's hard for them to just keep quiet though the whole time, and where they're probably like, "What? No other kind of music?" No, yeah. So they went to. My sister lives in the back house, so with her kids and her husband, and so we live in the front house. So it's been great to kind of pod with them. That we just kind of share a lot of time together, or just meet halfway and in the courtyard and stuff. So.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
What was I going with this? Quetzal, the band itself. Are you going to play any of the group's music?
Yes, yes. So Fandango Fronterizo was part of the new album that we're coming out. And then now we're going to play for you another tune called La Guía, which is about hardship and what you need to pull from your soul to keep going. And it's called La Guía. And that will be on our up and coming album also on Smithsonian Folkways. It's called Puentes Sonoros. And it's really, Puentes Sonoros as a project is really, we took a trip to Veracruz. We've been taking many trips over the many, many years. We've been going back and forth, building, fortifying relationships with the different community, Son Jarocho communities there. And this song is really based on some ideas that we came up with in Veracruz when we were sort of there in order to sort of get together with Ramon Gutierrez. Especially, we worked very closely on this album, so there's a lot of his influence in it. So it's going to be really a great, it was a really fun album to record, and this song is from that album, this next song.
Okay. All right.
All right, La Guía.
Cualquier camino, soñar en mi liderazgo. No hay destino que me invade, me transformo como quiera. Seré nube de tormenta o sombra sobre la sierra. Momentos improvisados que nunca se olvidarán, comentarios en silencio, la verdad nunca se va. El fuego que nace dentro, la guía que se nos da, el fuego que arde por dentro y siempre nos guiará. La necedad del rencor, como ya no se repiten hacia el canto del arriero, la memoria sí persiste. Que yace dentro, la guía que se nos da, el fuego que arde por dentro y siempre nos guiará. No hay destino que me invade, me transformo como quiera, seré nube de tormenta, no sombra sobre la sierra. La guía que se nos da, el fuego que arde por dentro y siempre nos guiará.
Tan, tan. All right. Yay.
Yay, I got lost here.
No, that's okay.
That was beautiful. Tell us about the song and a little bit about the song and also the genesis of, you talked a little bit about the CD. When's it coming out? How can we hear it?
Okay. Well, the Smithsonian, they were going through a bit of problems, just, with the pandemic and everything got pushed back. So I would say that the album will be out in December.
Spring, probably.
Yeah, or spring perhaps. So it's in the works. We just saw, some of the artwork that there was decided on. And so they're moving forward with the booklet and all that stuff. So, and the write-up, and it's a beautiful write-up by a very prominent music writer, and his name is Alex E. Chavez. We're very proud of how he, took it upon himself to write about it. But besides that, the genesis has been many years in the making, well over 15 years, maybe more. Since 1998, really, we've been sort of going back and forth, building relationships with the Son Jarocho community there, and not just the Son Jarocho, but with the Fandango communities, right? This practice that we have gained so much from and learned so much from them. And so this album is kind of about those enlaces, as they say, the sounds and the networks and the kind of, hermandad.
Well, thank you for that explanation. I'm just gonna here we have Scott Maitland tuning in from Seattle, living in tiny boxes, working to amplify bigger good. We have Victor Alvarado watching from Los Angeles. Que vivan los músicos.
Esa.
Alma Marron from Kentucky in Cali.
All right, Kentucky.
A lot of people here, Yesenia Navarrete, Hunter, beautiful, Sandino, Vico Diaz, Mark Torres.
Beautiful Sandino, Fagiesi, Mark Torres.
Mark Torres, of course, he's one of the pioneers, of course, of presenting La Música to the public through travel tips to Aztlan, celebrating 25 years on KPFK.
That's right. He's our brother. Long
Mark,
time.
Mark, we're gonna have to get you on En Casa con la Plaza soon. Es una promesa.
Yeah.
So we have, thank you so much to everybody that's tuning in. Elena Herrera from desde Detroit. Ellison Gibson from Portland.
Portland.
Irma Torres from the Antelope Valley, from everywhere. So thank you so much for tuning in. Do we have another song, Marta?
Yeah, we do. We have one called El Rio. And this one is also on the album. And this one is in the metaphor of a rio that rises and tries to, rises and tries to dominate, oftentimes, as rios will often do. It's a metaphor for white supremacy.
Ooh.
And and this song is song-like tune is about how we navigate that.
Okay, thank you.
Por la acera corre el río que a los hombres fue domando, ese río que se vale salirse de vez en cuando. El torrente de la sierra que la gravedad no aguanta, con velocidad de un ave baja y pronto se levanta. Isa navegante, Isa, en navío de justicia, no hay delitos en la tez de esta morena mestiza. Uy. Navegando, bataleando, cual torrente atormentando, sobrevivo, voy flotando, saber dónde, cómo y cuándo. Uy. Isa navegante, Isa, en navío de justicia, no hay delito en la tez de esta morena mestiza. ¡Eso es Sandino!
Gracias, Marta. Here, hand over the headphones to Quetzal so you can rest a little.
Okay.
What's up,
Quetzal, that was beautiful. That was wow. In this world that we're living in now, 6 months into this pandemic era of smoke, of fire, of both in the mountains, in the forest, and in the streets. And then we're turning to this virtual way of communicating. What do you think?
Well, I think that's absolutely right. That analysis is perfect. We've reached yet another turning point in the earth, and the toxic ways in which we continue to live and poison the earth that has given us so much, that has the potential to continue giving us so much, and giving everybody enough for them to be able to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive. And so, the earth is defending itself. The earth has begun to push back and to, remind us how insignificant we are, that it existed before us, and it will do what it has to do to continue to be the earth, and that it'll exist without us. And the arrogance of humanity, of human beings in particular, I'm talking about from the point when European colonial settlers came to these lands, into this moment, the arrogance by which people have been operating is it's criminal. It is really criminal. And this country was founded on criminal acts of stolen land and stolen lives. And so when you consider that, it's no surprise that we've reached this moment, because nothing has been done to really build a process, and a comprehensive process that could actually force us to look at what has been done, and to look at brown and black people in the face and recognize our humanity. And so until that happens, we're gonna continue to see these shifts and also these uprisings, And so for those of us who have already have begun to not just imagine a new world, but to enact a new world, I think that what's going to happen is that we're building this sort of parallel universe, and simultaneously letting go of those toxic ways and creating pathways for healing and for empathy and for love to emerge into our communities, and to do away with something like the prison industrial complex, for example, and to do away with the policing as it exists now, to defund that and to rechannel those funds to ways in which communities can have agency and power in protecting themselves and protecting each other. And there can be systems of accountability in place, like something that is called transformative justice, but that emerges from indigenous communities, and restorative justice as well. And so, there's a lot of people moving in many important directions. And I want to give a shout out to the movement for Black Lives and Black Lives Matter, because they've really sort of given us hope again in many ways, and reminded us that we can still fight, and that we can still be human and whole.
And speaking of hope, how is music in general, and particularly the music that you're creating with your family, how is that furthering that?
Yeah, so I think it has to do with, because it's funny the way capitalism works, right? It can sell anything. And so it can sell revolution as well. It can sell music that speaks of these radical ideas. And so what we've done, as not just as family, but as a community, and why the Fandango practice, for example, is so important, and why the origins of hip hop and learning the origins of hip hop and returning to those practices of the cipher and the bomba, the bombazo and the fandango, like I said, and for, you know, we got to travel to Spain last year and see a tablao, for example, in the flamenco tradition, to see all these ways in which communities realize themselves and reinvent themselves and reimagine themselves through these practices. I think for me, that's where it's at. That's what needs to happen, is that we have to be able to land these things in community. And it's not enough to sing about it. It's not enough to get on stage and perform these songs about social justice, because we know where that ends already. We know that it ends in the hands of capitalism co-opting this and selling it in a way that it renders it ineffective, and the impact isn't what you intended. And so in order for the impact to be what you intended, you have to be disciplined, and you have to invest in ways in which everybody benefits from it. Not just, this isn't the business of Quetzal. This is the collective rising of a community, right? And so then it's difficult, because this is also our labor in some ways. Music is our labor, and we need to eat, and we need to put food on the, put food on the table. We need a place to live, and in this capitalist society, those things are not, they're commodities. And so the work that has to continue is to start to think about what are human rights and what should everybody have a right to. And like, and one of the answers that I've heard in being in community is food, shelter, education, healthcare, and jobs. Everybody should, those are not on the table for profit. Everybody should have access to those things, at least. And then we can start talking about, other things. But until we start to really prioritize humanity, till we start to move forward with a criteria of humanity for everything that we do, we're heading headlong into trouble.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know that that's very complex times we're living in, and but what you're doing now with your family, with your community, is part of what gives me continued hope that we will be moving forward, that we are moving forward through, despite the turmoil and really just this craziness out there, that we're going to reach a better place.
Yeah. And
so thank you for sharing. Do you have another song for us?
We do. I think we have a couple more songs.
All right.
One more song for you.
Uno más. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're going to end it kind of mellow, and that is to share this an old song that we have, and it's called Todo Lo Que Tengo, and it's really about, despite the fact that you've experienced hardship, that when you have somebody who loves you and believes in you, that you will get to do and live and experience all the things you wanted to experience, that you'll get its outlook, because you're loved, you're in family, that's what this song's about.
Para acabé de existir. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. La fe que me nace es por ti, mi vida. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. Todo lo que tengo. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. La fe que me nace es por ti, mi vida. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. Tú eres todo lo que tengo. Mi bien, ya ves que sigo esperándote aquí. Mi bien, ya ves que sin ti no puedo vivir. Ven que te quiero y te quiero decir que sin tu amor no puedo vivir. Te quiero y no niego, mi corazón es para ti. Te quiero y da miedo que pronto acabe de existir. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. La fe que me nace es por ti, mi vida. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. Tú eres todo lo que tengo. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. La fe que me nace es por ti, mi vida. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. Tú eres todo lo que tengo. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. La fe que me nace es por ti, mi vida. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. Tú eres todo lo que tengo. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. La fe que me nace es por ti, mi vida. Todo lo que quiero yo haré en la vida. Tú eres todo lo que tengo. Mi bien.
Oh my gosh. Gracias, gracias. There's so many little hearts floating up on the Facebook page. All these little hearts floating up. Irma Torres loved it. Angelica Natalia Loa Perez, always powerful, beautiful, and relevant. Love you. David Delgado, love it.
Oh.
Cindy Shea, it's a good time for collaboration with Mariachi Divas. Yeah?
All right, Cindy Shay.
We have a question here.
Okay.
And Martha talk about her new book. What was it like? What was it?
Well, man, please, it's on. Just came out on UT Austin Press. Por aquí hay there's a copy somewhere around here.
The name
Yes,
of the book?
and you can get it on the UT on my website or UT Austin Press. Oh, look at that! How about that? Yeah, and you know, it's many years in the making. It's what happens, you know, people do their PhDs, and this part of my, pretty much my, so a lot of my grand part of the dissertation I had to produce, and then it, you know, sort of turned it into a book, and that's what this is. And so it's really the foundation of some of the methodologies that we continue to, that we continue to utilize. And it's just like the collective songwriting method that we learned from the Zapatistas and Rosa Marta Zarate, La Maestra. And then of course the Fandango movement and how important it has been for us, and what we've learned from it, the kinds of tools and the ways in which Chicanos and communities here in Los Angeles and other parts of the U.S. have implemented it as an important tool of conviviality, right? And how political that can be. And so anyhow, so that's kind of what it's all about. And I invite everybody. And actually, I just want to mention that I have, we're about to start a 3-part book launch / party. That will, the first day is October 1st, a week from yesterday. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, we're going to have on the 15th and then on the 29th. And I'm going to have all the guests that I'm talking about in this book, different communities come, and, you know, I'm also hosting a webinar. So I invite everybody to please keep an eye out and register for this webinar, 3-part series webinar. And I want to give a shout out to my good friends, Jen Cuevas, Shirley Alvarado del Águila, and Marco Loera for helping me start putting that together.
And tell us where can people reach this? What website can we tune into?
Yeah, so my website, martagonzalez.net, is where you can go to register for the webinar. We're about to put that little button up there. So if you go there now, it might not be there, but I promise it'll be there by tomorrow night. Okay, so I'm a little backed up right now, but you'll start seeing some promotion from my Instagram and probably Quetzal's Instagram, the band, and, you know, so we'll get it out there. Hopefully, if you're online, hopefully you'll run into it.
Well, I just put it on our Facebook there, and I put it on the chat in the Zoom, and so it's out there. So,
all right.
Any more commercials? Any more anuncios?
The anuncios, a ver, commercials. No, just happy to be. Want to thank Juan Perez for joining us today, the maestro. We talk about him extensively in the book as well, and some of the contributions he's made to the son jarocho. Queremos darle las gracias y a toda la familia por allá en Veracruz. Sé que de Santiago Tuxtla está escuchando, también otras partes de Veracruz y aquí en Los Ángeles and all over. It's great that La Plaza has so many followers, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
Well, thank you. Since it's time for commercials, now it's my turn. First of all, if you came late to this session, you can rewatch if you watched it and you want to watch it again, you can rewatch it, watch it for the first time on our Facebook page, our YouTube page. They're both at La Plaza LA, and on our website at lapca.org. You could also catch all of our past En Casa con La Plaza sessions on our YouTube, laplaza.org, our Facebook. These have been generously sponsored by SoCal Gas and California Humanities as part of the CARES Act. Our upcoming sessions at La Plaza, of course, Monday. Every Monday we have En Casa con La Plaza Cocina, where we do cooking demonstrations of, we've done 20 so far. Coming up this Monday, the 28th at 3 p.m., El Vegetarian Taco and Cilantro Pesto with Pablo Ricardo Vega from Moderna Cocina. On Tuesday, September 29th, it's El Día Nacional del Bracero, and we have the Unión Binacional de Ex-Braceros, Baldomero Capiz, who will be talking about the history of the Braceros and what they're up to now, trying to, of course, recuperate their funds from the Mexican government and more. Todo en español aquí en Casa con La Plaza on Tuesday, and then next Friday, Dan Guerrero Happy Hour with special guest Gregory Nava, the director, screenwriter, La Familia, my family, Selena, and El Norte. So that's next Friday at 7 p.m. Also, for family, we just started this new virtual series, En Familia con La Plaza, and it's workshops and lessons. Tomorrow we'll be doing, talking about container gardening and how to make your own pico de gallo. And then here's the big commercial, our gala, La Plaza's Virtual Pobladores Gala, October 14th, 6 to 8 p.m. Salud, a celebration of art and music. And here are our honorees for the year. Castulo de la Rocha from Altamed, CEO, and also a grand supporter of Chicano art and culture, and of course our heroes, de música, Los Lobos. So it's going to be online. You could catch, I'm going to go ahead and put down, lay down the link on, if I could find where I'm at here. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to, on our chat, I'll put it, a ver dónde quedó. Aquí está, here is the website, the link for our gala on the 14th of October, about 3 weeks from now. It's going to be fun. We have some performances by Los Lobos, performances by La Marisol, and I hope you all could join us.
Yeah.
So, con eso terminamos esta sesión de En Casa con la Plaza. I'd like to once more thank our special guest, the Quetzal Family Trio. If we could get Sandino out here, we'll do a screen share. I'll take your photo, and you could watch this, like I said, on our Facebook page. And 1, 2, y 3. Oh, muchas gracias.
Yay. Me
All
la
right.
manda.
Buenas noches a todos. Muchas
Thank you.
gracias.
Oh, thank you, Plaza.
Nos vemos pronto.
Adiós. Adiós.